Barakadiawa, Barakadiawa Shai, Barakadiawa, Barakadiawa Shai, Barakadiawa, Barakadiawa Shai. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rokakodash. Double honors, apostles, and elders of Great Millstone, peace and salutation to you, beloved Akim, that is pushing this word in sincerity and truth. With humiliation on the cross of all winds, to you I salute. This is the brother Desire one back at you another lesson to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai. And what I want to get into this article, because these are the times we're in. Salaki or Shabbat Shalom. Pretty much like it says, this is an article over here in the Bahamas. We all know this was coming. Brace for higher prices at the pump. Brace for higher prices at the pump. Because we see that what's happening over there in the Middle East is affecting us. With the Strait of Hormuz closed down, it spells trouble for us too. We in them times, and that's gonna cause inflation. If the gas prices go up, the food prices go up, and everything else going up. You see? So we in those times. Alright, these are the beginning of sorrows. Things have to get bad. Alright, Ocha. But you get our people, they ain't worrying about what's happening around the world that affects them. They worrying about fucking politics. We ain't that kind of time to be worrying about no politics. You're being divided in a time where prophecies is jumping off the pages. You're distracted by these vanity politics. And that's how these people is going to get taken, because they ain't measuring time. They ain't watching to see what's happening. They only worrying about who's going to win next. But fuck that. Well, let me get into this. It says, Tribune chief reporter. Bahamian motorists are being urged to brace for higher prices at the pumps as rising costs linked to escalating tensions in the Middle East began to impact the market, with one retailer warning it's just a matter of time before costs increase. Alright? Costs increase. Alright? And we see in these times it's going to get bad, or just going to get worse. Inflation. Alright? Because how much of the oil passed through the to the Salakia. Give me a minute. 20% of the oil passed through the Strait of Hormuz. Salakia, I was looking for. But nevertheless, yeah, man, 20%. All right. You see, and basically that shut down. So we're gonna see inflation, all kind of ramifications from that. Vasco Vastian, vice president of Bahamas Petroleum Retail Association, could not give a timeline when prices could increase. However, he told the Tribune prices will likely increase when retailers' current inventory runs out. I can tell you, from where I said at a retailer, there will be some more minor adjustments in costs, he said. When exactly that cost would come into effect, I don't know until corporate speaks to us and let us know that, hey, we got a new shipment of fuel, it's gonna go up 5 cents or 10 cents or 25 cents or whatever. Along as that, that quagmire over there in Middle East, that continue, hey, we're gonna see inflation, okay? People don't believe, they don't understand. They don't believe hard times really coming. It says hopefully it don't go up that high, but consumers can really brace for higher prices. So higher prices is coming. All right, the gas tied to the food. All right, airplane fuel is gonna go up. All kind of things is gonna go up in these times. A lot of people don't believe that. That's inflation. Let's get the scripture. This is Revelation 6 and 5 to 6. It says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. That's inflation. Hyperinflation. All right. A measure of wheat for a penny. Check this out. I look at the AI overview of this, right? It says Revelation 6 and 6 describes a third seal judgment involving severe famine and economic collapse. All right, where basic food, wheat, barley, costs a full day's wage. You see, it costs a full day's wage. All right, okay, because it says, yeah, a penny, when you go in a penny, is denarius, meaning 10. It says signifying extreme inflation. Okay, inflation. It says the command to not hurt the oil and wine, which is the true the hopeful elect, indicates a partial control judgment on sparing of luxury items. That's the true the hopeful elect. Despite widespread suffering. All right, the Lord is still going to make a way for us. It says signifying extreme inflation. Key interpretation meanings: extreme inflation, famine. A quart of wheat for a denarius represents 10 times to 16 times price increase, where a day's labor only buys a food for one person for one day. You know, these are times we're coming on. The scriptures call these the beginning of sorrows, the birth pains. All right, these coming. It says in the article, BPRA President Ramon Jones said it is unlikely wholesalers have enough fuel inventory to last 7 months, noting that new shipments are expected soon. He added that when the new fuel shipment arrives, it will likely come at a higher cost. This could be a matter of a week or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on which companies are important when he added. Their comments came. Their comments came as oil prices spiked again on Monday as the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran intensified. Slovakia. Well under the weather. Major oil producers in the region have reduced output due to export constraints, while Iran, Israel, and the U.S. have already struck oil and gas facilities since the war started, raising concerns about further disruptions to global supply. Despite the rising oil prices, local government officials have sought to reassure behemoths, saying residents need not to fear electricity bill increases in the short term or medium term. Yeah, well, everything going up. Everything is going to be affected. Okay. Prime Minister Philip Davis said, any spike in global oil prices directly affects the Bahamas, but noted that safeguards are in place to cushion consumers during periods of volatility. Yeah, only for so long. All right. Because what happening over there really affects us. Okay. And you know, for our country, we suffer. We only fucking import. We don't export nothing. We don't have no ways of this diversifying our economy. We get hit hard. So these real hard times coming on this earth. All right, these people ain't prepared. Said Economic Affairs Minister Michael Akitis added the government is taking a wait-and-see approach before considering any revisions to its fiscal plans. Mr. Jones, meanwhile, warned of escalating wars-wide impact, saying it may not just affect fuel, but freight and insurance on cargoes and airline tickets. You see that? Everything going up. Everything. I just said about the plane fee. Everything can go up. Everything is going to go up. Beautiful times we living in. We living in the greatest times ever and the worst times. All right, these times have to happen. These the beginning of sorrows. Everything is driven by fuel to some degree. He said so that could have a knock on effect across the globe, which could have a negative effect because the price of it, depending on the impact on the fuel price, you'll see less travel. You see that? So these are times we're coming into. So it might be the hot girl summer. All right. For his part, Mr. Bastian urged drivers to continue their usual routine, ensuring that there will be no gas shortages. He said that there will be likely one. He said there will likely one be a minor price adjustment, encourage Bahamians to carpool, service their vehicles, and keep tires properly inflated as cost-saving measures. Yeah. It said as of yesterday, prices at the pump stood $5.34 at Shell, $5.30 at Esso, and $5.31 at Rubis. You see that? So, hey, everything is driven by fuel to some degree. You see that? So, hey, we in these times, these are the beginning of sorrows. It's not gonna get better. All right? These are the beginning of sorrows. You heard what it says? All right, a third seal judgment involving severe famine and economic collapse. All right, inflation is going to hit hard. All right, all right. It says social inequality. The contrast between scarce, expensive bread and available oil and wine suggests that while the poor starve, the wealthy may remain unaffected. Okay. All right. But hey, we in those times. What Yahweh Shai say? Let's get it. Let's get it. Who the world ignorant God, Jesus Christ. This is Matthew 24. And 7. Matthew 24. Salaki, give me a minute. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall lay up wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. We in the beginning stages of World War III. Alright, but these things must happen. For nations arise against nation. We seeing that, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Alright, and the earthquakes intensifying too, especially over in Latin America. You know, we in beautiful times. They coming closer and closer over here to the Bahamas. It says, but what? All these are the beginning of sorrows. Alright? The sorrows is the pain of childbirth, travail, pains, birth pangs, intolerable anguish in reference to the dire calamities precede to the event of the Messiah. Alright? A pang of joy, especially of childbirth, those contractions. Consuming grief, pain, and sorrow. Alright? Okay. Check this out.
携帯電話が接続されていません。携帯電話を忘れていませんか?
Check this out. Matthew 24 and 8 means all these are beginning of sorrows, birth pains, sorrows, describe early signs of the end times, the wars, famines, and earthquakes as initial intensifying and inevitable trials preceding a greater final event. Similar to labor pains, it advises that these troubles are not the end, but a precursor to renewal. Signs of the time, it is used to describe increasing widespread disasters such as tornadoes, flood, earthquakes, and plagues. Apocalyptic warning, it serves as a warning against being alarmed by world-threatening tribulation, urgent readiness instead. Encouragement, it suggests that current suffering is not pointless but part of a necessary process leading to a newer, better reality. Okay? This earth need a reset, man. You see? Theological interpretation is often referenced when discussing the transition from the old world order to the new, with many events fulfilling this prophecy. All right. So we in some beautiful times, man. We in some beautiful times. Everything is gonna be affected. You know, like it says, man. Everything is driven by fuel to some degree, said. So that could have a knock-on effect across the globe, which have a negative effect because the price of it, depending on the impact of the fuel price, you see less travel. So, hey, it'll be a beautiful time. You know what, girls? I'm out here. You know, once this continues, you know, yeah, man, these are times we're in. All right. Inflation, everything, food prices, everything. Brace for higher prices at the pump. All right. We in the end. You okay? So I just want to bring those to spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Yeah, man, shalom.